Caribbean and Bahamas Weather Bulletin, News Style. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Weather Today, your source for updates across the Caribbean and the Bahamas. We are very pleased to be with you in this special broadcast. Tonight, we'll take you through several major developments. Tropical storm Imelda is bearing straight down on Bermuda with dangerous winds. While many islands across the Caribbean remain under extreme heat, interrupted only by isolated afternoon thunderstorms. At the same time, forecast models are indicating the possibility of new disturbances organizing over the Atlantic and the Western Caribbean early next week, raising the chance of additional tropical cyclones. Our report tonight will walk you through every detail: storms, heat, rain, and ocean hazards, to give you the full picture and help you prepare. Bermuda in the spotlight. The biggest story tonight is Bermuda. Tropical storm Imelda, now a Category 2 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale, is heading straight for the island nation in the middle of the Atlantic. With sustained winds of 100 miles per hour, 160 km per hour, and gusts over 110 miles per hour, 180 km per hour. The storm shows little sign of weakening before impact. Structurally, the hurricane's eastern half has been eroded somewhat by wind shear and an upper-level trough tied to the remnants of Hurricane Umberto. But its western semicircle remains tightly organized with deep convection. This means the storm's most damaging winds are expected after the eye passes. That scenario is particularly dangerous because residents may mistakenly believe the worst has passed, when in fact the back half of the storm could bring the most prolonged destructive winds, toppling trees, damaging homes, and overwhelming local infrastructure. Already, Bermuda is feeling the outer bands. At the airport, gusts have topped 40 miles per hour, while at higher elevations such as the National Museum, winds have reached 66 miles per hour this afternoon, even though the eye remains some distance away. Conditions are set to deteriorate rapidly through tonight and into tomorrow morning. Sustained winds over 90 miles per hour with gusts over 110 miles per hour are expected to rake across the island. In addition to wind, massive waves and storm surge pose a major threat. Seas of 25 to 30 feet, 8 to 10 meters, are forecast, with water levels pushing onto windward shores. With Bermuda's limited landmass and relatively fragile coastal defenses, coastal flooding, shoreline erosion, and damage to property are all highly likely. Rainfall will be less of an issue, about 2 to 4 inches, 50 to 100 millimeters, expected, but given the short time span, flash flooding on low-lying roads is still possible. Umberto's legacy: rough seas across the Atlantic. While Imelda dominates the headlines, former Hurricane Umberto has officially transitioned into a post-tropical system, no longer monitored as a tropical cyclone by the National Hurricane Center. Umberto nonetheless leaves behind a lasting impact: long-period swells rolling across the Atlantic. These swells, mixing with Imelda's wave field, are producing confused and dangerous seas, including the potential for rogue waves far from the storm centers, along the U.S. northeast coastline, from New England up into Canada. These swells will drive strong rip currents and coastal erosion over the next several days. In other words, while Bermuda faces the direct hit, thousands of miles of shoreline across the western Atlantic are also indirectly impacted. Residents and visitors are urged to heed lifeguard warnings and beach flag alerts, and avoid entering the water during this period of hazardous surf. Caribbean heat and storms. Shifting focus to the Caribbean, extreme heat remains a pressing issue. Temperatures of 90 to 93 degrees Fahrenheit, 32 to 34 degrees Celsius, were recorded today. But the heat index, or how it feels on the body, soared to 105 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 to 43 degrees Celsius. Thanks to high humidity and steady trade winds that hinder sweat evaporation, Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands remain under heat advisories, with officials advising limited outdoor activity from late morning through late afternoon. Plenty of hydration, and close monitoring of vulnerable populations such as the elderly, children, and those with pre-existing conditions. In the Bahamas, rains have diminished over the past 24 hours, especially in central and northern islands where communities are cleaning up after several days of heavy squalls associated with Imelda's outer circulation. However, by the weekend, onshore trade winds will once again funnel moisture back into the northern Bahamas and Florida's east coast, bringing renewed showers, isolated thunderstorms, and persistent rough seas. Island by island highlights. Jamaica, the daily rhythm of afternoon thunderstorms continues. Mountainous terrain combined with hot surface air triggers strong convection, producing brief but intense downpours, gusty winds, and lightning, particularly over St. Anne, Clarendon, Westmoreland, and Hanover. Cuba, clearer skies dominate the northwest, but the southeast remains unsettled with scattered showers. This split pattern is expected to persist. Hispaniola, western Haiti and the northwestern Dominican Republic have seen localized showers, with rainfall projected to increase this weekend, particularly along mountain ranges. Puerto Rico and USVI, predominantly hot and sunny with only a few showers along northern slopes by late afternoon. The lack of rainfall intensifies ongoing heat risks. Leeward Islands, brisk trade winds produce fast-moving showers over Anguilla, Saint Martin, Antigua, Barbuda, Saint Kitts and Nevis, and Montserrat. Barbados saw isolated heavy rain in the northwest today, but accumulations remained modest. Windward Islands, a mix of sun and clouds with occasional passing showers across Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent. Trinidad and Tobago, ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, Curaçao, predominantly hot, dry, and sunny, with only isolated early morning showers. Looking ahead, any new storms? The big question, will another tropical storm form in the next week? For the next 3 to 4 days, the answer is no. Development odds are very low. Beyond that, around days 5 to 7, models hint at 2 areas worth watching: a tropical wave moving off Africa into the main development region, and a moisture-rich zone over the western Caribbean and southern Gulf of Mexico. Confidence remains low due to inconsistencies between the GFS and ECMWF models. But the takeaway is clear: residents should follow official forecasts every 24 to 48 hours, as the situation could change quickly. The ocean's reach. Even away from storm centers, long-period swells from Imelda and Umberto will radiate outward. Seas of 30 to 35 feet, 9 to 11 meters, near Bermuda will send powerful waves to the U.S. East Coast and Atlantic Canada. The danger is deceptive. Skies may clear after the storms, but strong rip currents remain hidden beneath calm-looking waters. Lifeguards emphasize that beachgoers should never underestimate the sea during this period. Top 5 takeaways. Bermuda faces imminent impact from Hurricane Imelda, with the most dangerous winds likely in the storm's back half. Umberto is post-tropical but continues to drive dangerous long-period swells across the Atlantic. Extreme heat persists across the Caribbean, especially Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The Bahamas enjoy a brief dry spell, but showers will return by the weekend. Over the next 7 days, potential tropical development could emerge from an African wave or the Western Caribbean. Uncertainty remains high. Closing remarks. At Weather Today, we are committed to keeping our community informed. For our viewers in Bermuda, please prioritize your safety and secure your property after the storm passes. If conditions allow, we encourage you to share images and videos of the aftermath so that we can tell the full story together. Don't forget to like and subscribe for continued updates. We also remind you that our sponsor, the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, offers free reviews of insurance contracts to help residents feel more secure in managing post-storm claims. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe, stay hydrated in the heat, and be ready for returning storms later this week. We'll be back with the latest updates on weather across Bermuda, the Caribbean, and the Atlantic. Until then, goodbye, and take care.